Last time on the Core Elite Tech Wars, we took a look at the gamer Smoke,
who came with your favorite figure, Flaccid Snake.
Don't remind me.
Hey, are we almost done with this I'm ready to rip into the Craptastic Four!
Don't worry, this is the last one. We're gonna take a look at my favorite figure, Shrapnel. This is the 2017 Shrapnel. Like the other Tech Wars figures, Shrapnel was first released in the Jurassic Clash line. He came in one set, the Dino Wrangler Saber-Tooth Tiger set. Shrapnel comes in a 3-pack with the previous leader of the Corps, Rucker.
And the least articulated figure in the Craptastic Four, Reaper.
That's all you got? Really?
Yeah, I like Reaper. He's cool.
Buckshot. Let's take a look at Shrapnel's articulation. He does have a swivel at the neck, so his neck can move from side to side. His arm can come up about that far. It can go all the way around. He does have a bend at the elbow, and there's also a ball joint, so he can spin his elbow around. He has a ball joint at the abdomen, so he can do the hula. His legs are also on ball joint, so his leg can come up about that far. He has a bend at the knee, and his leg can come out if you'd like to, just like all the other figures. Now we'll take a look at Shrapnel's features. He does have a helmet, and this looks kind of like a clip, maybe for a camera. He has a face mask here, and he has the skull painted on his face right there. He has some orange goggles. We come down, he has the same type of armor as Trickshot with the same straps. A gun holster that comes across his chest with a gun molded in. He has some large pouches that go all the way around his body. It looks like he has maybe 3 shotgun shells there and then a smaller pouch at the bottom. On his back he also has the small backpack like we saw in the early 2000s with 2 small pouches on each side. If we look at his arms, he has these rectangles here. I don't know if those are pouches or not, but his sleeves are rolled up, and he has these, I'm not sure, these just really tight sleeves on there. He's wearing gloves, and on this arm he has his nanotech. Coming down his body, he does have these 2 knee pads here, and he has a working holster on this side for his wearable weapons feature. His pants are bloused, and it looks like he's wearing some normal military combat boots with steel toes. Now Shrapnel does come with 2 accessories. It's the same ones that Trickshot comes with, so it's this small pistol here, and we also have this rifle with the sniper scope on there, and that goes on his back just like that, and his pistol fits on his holster right there. Keeping up with the Core Elite tradition, we can find a character's bio at thecorehq.com. Codename Shrapnel. Real name Darius Weaver. He is part of the Curse Anti-Core Cybernetic Warfare Division. His primary skills: skilled sniper marksman, hand-to-hand combat. Darius grew up in South Africa and was a natural outdoor survivalist. As he matured, he also became an excellent marksman and fighter. While traveling the world to study under different martial arts and weapon specialists, he was recruited by Rain. After proving himself, Darius continued to fight with the Corps until a fateful raid on a cursed compound that changed Darius forever. During the raid, one of Smoke's bombs detonated near Darius, disfiguring his face from resulting shrapnel. The Corps evacuated the compound before it collapsed and left Darius behind, thinking he was surely killed in the blast. Little did they know, he actually had been saved by an enemy curse member. Although most of his memory has been wiped clean, he still harbors resentment towards Smoke for the bomb accident that scarred his entire body. He has since been enhanced with nanotechnology, by the curse to create the perfect foot soldier for the replication program. It's really cool that Smoke is part of Shrapnel's origin story. This is probably the best dossier that the Corps has to offer. Whenever I read this dossier, it makes me feel like they unintentionally made Smoke kind of an incompetent bomb maker. It almost makes it sound like a banana peel situation. And then the fact that they would just leave him behind without even checking. Now we're talking a more from Fox's X-Men cartoon kind of thing.
Wolverine, pull back!
I know. I understand that Smoke is a human, and he can't be 100% at what he does.
Even though he's a bomb expert.
But isn't he, I don't know, isn't he enhanced with nanotech? Also, the team probably had to get the heck out of Dodge to save everyone. And honestly, with these two things, I still like the dossier a lot. Shrapnel is also an army builder. The problem with this is that they gave Shrapnel a name. And sure, these are just toys and you can do whatever you want with them, but do you think you'd army build the Dreadnoks?
I might army build the Dreadnoks.
Reaper is perfect. And that's because he has no name. It could be anyone. It could be a Curse Reaper. Bam! Army builder. I am building Shrapnel, but I don't know, something about it just doesn't feel right because the whole time there's 3 Dariuses or Darii. Or I don't know how you would say multiple Darius. And it's cool that you get 2 army builders in this 3-pack. But who wants to army build Rucker? I guess he's more custom fodder.
That's really dumb. What would you do with all those Ruckers? He might as well be worthless as the Craptastic Four by now. By the way, I'm still waiting to rip into them.
Don't worry, we're almost there. I actually opened up my first pack of these guys at the store after I paid for them and gave Rucker, Buckshot, Recoil, and Dozer to a kid who was looking at them.
You're sick! How could you spread the Craptastic Four disease?
He was happy. Okay, fine. Hey, are you ready?
All right, let's do this! It's time for my 5-star review of the Craptastic Four! It seems like we had to wait an eternity for new core figures to come out, and when Leonard finally decided to grace us with these new figures, which are admittedly pretty f***ing cool, they just had to go and add value to these new sets by including the 4 worst figures in the previous line. By now, everybody knows I'm talking about the Craptastic Four. Recoil, Reaper, Buckshot, and...
Bazooka obsessed.
Cut it out!
Bazooka.
And I'm about to give them the 5-star review. My 5-star rating system rates figures in 5 categories: presentation, quality, poseability, playability / collectability, and value. Each category is worth 0 to 1 star for a final possible value of 5 stars. Let's see how the Craptastic Four fares. First up is presentation. The core figures, the core elite figures come in some pretty standard action figure packaging. There's always some cool artwork on the back, so let's take a look at these new packs. Let's meet the new members of the Curse. Pretty cool, right? 3 new baddies to stir for the core. But turn that box back around, and sure, there's 3 figures in there, but only 1 is from the new line. On the next box, we can meet the new members of the core. And there they are, 3 new paragons of justice and virtue to fight evil and corruption and other such. Let's turn that box around and And so where are these other figures, you ask? Well, there's 2 other packs that have got 3 more reruns nobody asked for. There are 6 new figures. Leonard could have just kicked out 2 new 3-packs, or at least added reruns of Puma, Snakebite, Plague, or other good figures. And look at this, the new arrival sticker is on the front of every box. And speaking of the front, let's take a look at the blatant lies that grace the top right corner. 18 points of articulation, huh? Do you mean on all 3 figures in the box combined? Let's take a look at this pack and see if our fearless leader, Rucker, can live up to the claim. Okay, let's see how many points of articulation old Rucker here's got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, what's next? Oh, I know. 13, 14, coming up. 15, 16. And well, well, looks like 17. So, blatant false advertising on behalf of Leonard and the core elite. So we only got to 17. What a crock! Now before I start getting threats from core fanboys, I know what they meant, but come on! They tell us there's 18 points of articulation and then pack in the 4 figures with the least articulation in the history of the line. What the actual Presentation loses points for lying and gets a quarter star. Next up is quality. Normally I give the core a pass in this category considering the price of the figures, but since it's the Craptastic Four, there'll be no such mercy today. Let's take a look at these 4. The plastic is solid and not cheap, the sculpts are pretty okay too, and the paint jobs are good, until you turn the figure around and see that it's all been half-assed. Come on guys, how's about we paint the rest of the figure so they look good once we get them out of the box too? So for half a paint job, quality gets half a star. Poseability is next. Remember the 18 points of articulation and how I joked that maybe if you combined all 3 figures in the pack together, you'd get to 18? Well, you can add up every point of articulation on the Craptastic Four and it doesn't even come close. Quarter star. Next is playability. And the most playable out of the 4 would be the worst looking one of the bunch, Buckshot. He's got the same articulation of the Star Wars figures from over 40 years ago. How far we've come. 1 playable figure out of 4 gets another quarter star. Finally, we come to value, and I've got to admit, for the accessories and for the price you pay, these figures are just okay. And that's the real problem here. These mediocre figures get a mediocre half star for value. And so add it all up, and the Craptastic Four get 1 3/4 stars altogether. With no real G.I. Joe line out there to speak of, and no other real competition, Leonard is in a very advantageous position. A position they refuse to exploit with these reissue multi-packs. The Craptastic Four should have been done away with by now, but they refuse to die. The new figures are great, but it's hard to think of this line as moving forward when they continue to put their worst figures front and center. Here's hoping that the next line will offer more than just 50% new content. I'm Dan Classic, and even after that, I'll still say, G.I. Joe is dead, long live the Corps.
So that was the 2017 Shrapnel from the Corps Elite Tech Wars. If you enjoyed the review, make sure you give it a like. If you want to see some more behind the scenes stuff, make sure to check out my Facebook page and Instagram. Both of them are Raz Holly. We'll see you next time when we take a look at a vehicle. Yes, that's right. It's the one and only, the Beast Bomber.